Well, we've officially made it 2 weeks living full-time out of our van now. Granted, we've stayed at a few family members' places, helped out here and there, but we have stayed out on our own a few nights.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one night in particular that we want to talk about now, which happened down at around the Galveston area, where we were camped out on the beach. You know, there's a hurricane in the Gulf, so of course high tides.
Mm-hmm.
But this instance was definitely a little bit odd.
Yeah, so we were camping. We had been camping on the beach for a couple nights at that point. We found a really neat spot where we could just camp for free and get to enjoy the ocean views, and it was pretty secluded from everybody. So we did have some other campers kind of near us on the beach, but the beach is long, so there's plenty of space in between people. But yeah, the other night we had a guy that was he in a van, or he was just in a...
So I'll put up a picture of this van. It's not a very good picture. I wasn't intentionally trying to take this. It was actually another video, but it was a dark blue, maybe closer to black. It looked like a minivan, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But this dude parked next to us around, 1 or 2 p.m.?
Yeah, not like super close to where like we really thought anything of it. We just thought he was hanging out.
Yeah, but he was probably 50 to 75 yards away. A pretty good distance.
Yeah, good distance.
Parked facing kind of away from us, and we thought, well, we didn't really think anything of it. He was just hanging out on the beach. Didn't really get out of his van much. It wasn't until dark that things started to get a little bit weird. Jessica was on a call. She didn't know what was going on. I happened to be sitting up front, just playing around on my phone, waiting for her to get off the phone. But I noticed he backed up, which, no big deal, trying to get away from the tide. It was, water was touching our back tires at that point. Not a big deal, but he only stayed there for a minute or two before he turned the van towards us, and then moved forward a little bit. Again, didn't really think anything of it, and I was like, okay, well...
Yeah, wasn't super close at that point to where it was concerning or anything. We just thought he was just adjusting for the tide.
Just going to a dry spot. But then, right after the point where it was too dark to see anything other than headlights, he pulled slowly behind the van, stopped back there for a minute or two, and then pulled around to the driver's side. But this time he only parked, 10, 15 yards away. Pulled into the spot, and he was getting in and out of his van. Fumbling with stuff in the back, going crazy with bug spray. Spraying the inside of his van, spraying himself, essentially dancing around out there. But between all these bouts of getting in and out and just acting really erratic, he would sit and stare at this van, which we have reflectics up front, both as a sunshade and also temperature control. So there's a little gap at the top, and I was sitting in the cab so I could watch this guy through there, and I swear he was just staring at me up there. I don't think he could see me because I was in a relatively dark cab, but he would just stop whatever he was doing and stare at the van for a full minute or so before going to get in his van. He'd swat at mosquitoes in there, and then he'd be back out messing with stuff in the back again. Which Jessica was getting off her call about this point. I was definitely a little bit nervous, just mainly based on how erratic this guy was, and that the tide was really coming in, to the point if we had stayed another 20 or 30 minutes, we would have been 100% trapped on this beach.
Yeah, this guy was really freaking us out. Because again, we're on this long beach, and there at that point, that night, we really didn't have anybody on the beach with us.
Nope.
All the other campers had left and stuff, so it was mostly just us and one family way down the way, and then this guy. And so we had this entire beach to take up.
Oh yeah, it's 12 to 15 miles stretch of beach.
He had this entire beach to take up, and he ended up sitting right next to us. So not only did he at this point, so he had just pulled in, his front car, the front of the car is facing away from the ocean and everything. So he starts out like that. He's being all weird and erratic and smoking about 10 cigarettes, like, super rapidly. And then, after a couple minutes, he backs up and then he faces his car out towards the ocean.
Yes, so it would be much easier for him to drive away. His driver's side is now on our driver's side because we pulled in just so the front end would be kind of more away from the sun.
Yeah.
And it was better. It was a better setup with the wind, but so he's at this point at what 8 yards away.
Yeah, he was really close to us.
Real close, 20 feet or so.
Really freaking us out.
And again, he was getting in and out. Before he turned his van around, and I know this is probably just my brain playing tricks on me, but I swear I saw a shotgun in the back of that, and he had some sort of sling on. It looked like a flashlight hanging kind of at his armpit, and it might have been a flashlight. It looked kind of like an oversized headlamp, but I don't know exactly what I saw there. It was extremely dark at this point. But around this time, I started having Jessica get everything ready to drive. We had already taken the ladder down outside. I had Jessica outside watching.
We were not... Okay, so by the time this video goes up, we'll be completely well equipped, so I guess it won't matter that I say this, but at the time, we did not exactly have a lot of self-defense tools for us. The only thing we had really on us, aside from, just like kitchenware and everything, was a can of wasp spray that his grandma gave us. And so we have our ladder set up to get on top.
On the driver's side.
It's on the driver's side, so over by where the guy is parked. And Jesse was like, we need to go. I mean, we were both in agreement that we needed to go, but we couldn't just drive off with our ladder sitting out there. So he said, okay, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to take the ladder down super fast, try to take care of the Wi-Fi because we had to disconnect it and everything. And while I do that, you stand at the very back of the van.
In the shadows.
In the shadow. Don't let him see you and hold this wasp spray.
Keep an eye on him for me because my back was to him.
Yeah. And if he tries to get out or whatever, just attack. So, thankfully, the guy didn't get out or anything. Jesse got down safely. He put the ladder in the back and then he got in the van and we were just sitting there. We were watching kind of how this guy was moving, and we do have security lights. So we turned those on. We pretty much, at this point, we put the reflectix up on, everything. And we turned on the security lights so that we could clearly see him and we could let him know that we could clearly see him.
But he could not see him.
But he couldn't see us.
We had all the lights off in here, reflectix up. We could just look through little gaps. So completely dark in here. Yeah. He couldn't see any silhouettes. But again, in and out of his van.
Yeah.
He had turned around. So his driver's side is facing ours.
Yeah, he's closest to us.
Yep, closest to us. At this point, I told Jessica, okay, we're going to go here in just a second. Luckily, we weren't on the leveling blocks this night. Most nights we are. But this night, I was like, I'm not worried about it. I don't think the tide's going to come up.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be a problem. It's hard-packed sand. So the only thing outside was our 2 lawn chairs. And then so, while I watched out the window, I told Jessica, jump out, grab these lawn chairs, toss them in, slam the door, and we're out of here. I want you at the back, looking out the window, tell me what he does. Because I got to focus on driving us out of here. And I mean, it's a slowly flooding beach full of debris. So
yeah, that was a little sketch in itself. So anyway, so I get out and I grab the chairs and I literally just throw them in here. Don't knock off any sand or anything because I'm completely freaked out at this point. And we get in and we turn on the van and we start driving away. And I'm watching him for a second.
Before we drive away though, as soon as I start the van, his driver's side slider door opens.
His whole car lights up. That door opens and he kind of freaks out, he wasn't meaning to open it. He was trying to erratically shut it. And so we called his mom so that we could have someone on the phone just in case something were to happen.
In hindsight, probably should have called the police at that point, but that came later.
Yeah. But so we were on the phone with her just saying like, yeah, just stay on here. Like, we just had this weird situation happen. We're leaving. And I was like, it's okay, I don't think he's following us. But once we got like a few 100 yards away, like down the beach, the guy turns on his car, and then he turns
pulls out behind us.
Yeah, pulls out behind us, and he starts following us.
Which,
and
this van, not super great on sand. So, I mean, we're cruising maybe 15 miles an hour, weaving through debris. You got waves coming up, so every time a wave comes up, it makes the sand really soft. So you're trying to avoid the incoming tide, avoid the debris, because, you know, there can be sharp objects in there. I don't want to pop a tire and get stranded out there. And then we see his car turn towards us.
Yeah, my heart is just thumping.
But luckily, he didn't really follow us too far.
Yeah.
He seemed to turn around and go back the other way. What I do worry about, and the reason we ended up calling the cops pretty quickly after, is because there were other families out there. I mean, there were a ways down this beach, I mean, probably quarter mile if not farther. But when I walked past him earlier, I mean, it was just a couple ladies with their kids.
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to let the police know, but hopefully they found something out there.
Yeah, I hope
we don't
so.
know if he cleared out or not, but
yeah, the entire situation is that, which this is of course what we're learning. Sometimes, I mean, it's nice to have free spots to stay, especially whenever it's on the beach. We don't have to worry about anything. But with free spots, and like usually free spots are more secluded and, you know, away from high traffic areas and everything. And so that can also just be a very dangerous waters to play in.
Right.
And so in that situation, obviously, like, I guess we just have to be very aware of our surroundings, and
we're much more prepared at this point.
Yeah, we're much more prepared at this point to deal with something like that, and I can guarantee it's gonna happen again, because that's just the nature of our world, and kind of the lifestyle that we've taken on and stuff. But
it should be more in our favor this next time, which makes me feel a little bit better. I'd rather have nothing happen, but
yeah,
I kind of like to be in control of situations like that, and in this instance, we were not in control. I mean, if we had stayed there or hadn't been paying attention 20 more minutes, we would have been 100% stuck on this beach, and who knows what would have happened.
Yeah, that guy, I mean, maybe he was just acting really weird, but I don't know. It was just the whole situation was off, and I mean, not gonna lie, I am kind of glad we got that first bad situation out of the way like early on, so that we're a little more like prepared and stuff, because van life so far has been really fun, I will say. It's been nice to be able to have the freedom to go where we kind of want to go and see who we kind of want to see, and be able to work out when we need to, or like I can run appointments from literally anywhere. Like I was running appointments on the beach, I'm running appointments at, you know, the lake and everything, and there's a bug on the lens.
That's fine.
But so all that aspect is great and everything, but you know, I mean, it's not all glamour and beauty and stuff.
I mean, really what it boils down to is just be aware of your situation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, be aware of the situation and your surroundings. That bug on that is kind of driving me nuts. Okay. So really what it boils down to is have a plan, be prepared, and I mean, be ready for the unexpected.